welcome back to this channel. And this week we're going to talk about how to use a procurement forecast data to identify early opportunities by fiscal year and the quarter. So if it's going to be quarter one, quarter two, whatever, quarter three or quarter four. That's what we're discussing this week. So let's jump right into it. So procurement forecast, the early identification of prime opportunities on the government shopping list. That's what I always call it, their shopping list. Planned purchases. It's a forecast often to include contact names. So you'll find contact names on there, and then positioning before the RFP drop or RFQ, whatever. And because we want to make sure we want to know what the agency's buying so we can position ourselves accordingly, right? Agencies must get funding and approval before buying. So just because it's on the procurement forecast doesn't mean they're going to go after it. That's why it takes all that market research, looking up trends, looking up how many times they've canceled an opportunity, and so forth and so on. Uh-oh. Okay, so let me go to the next one. So why forecast matters. To understand the agency buying patterns, to build relationships before the RFP release, you want to start building your team and partner relationships. You don't want to wait to the last minute to do that. And then use the forecast to plan outreach to the PM, the program managers, the contracting officers, and teaming partners, okay, the fiscal year. So I'm going to pull up the forecast now, and let's just pick one. I'm going to go right here to the procurement forecast, and then you have the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Commerce. I'm just going to use Department of Commerce, and we're going to go to their procurement forecast so you can just get an idea of what you're going to be looking at. And then they have the current procurement forecast. Make sure you read all the things on here. They got the vendor engagement right here so you can know how. They have the small business specialists if you need to reach out to them, and so forth and so on. But we're going to focus on the procurement forecast. This is giving you all the information right here, and each agency has a different format. I'm telling you, I've seen it too many times. They all have a different format. Okay, so this one is update. And so what I always do is I get rid of these other cells. I just delete, because you can't create a pivot table to look at the information when you do not get rid of those other ones, because when you go try to create the pivot table, then it's not going to allow you. But you'll see the forecast ID. The forecast ID is what you're going to always track that ID with, that and the workspace number. Then you have the dates created. Now we want to focus on only 25. So that's why I say I do pivot tables, and I also do filters so I can check and see, what fiscal year we on. Then you also see their NAICS code, months and years. And as you continue to go and look at all these different forecasts, you're going to see everyone has it set up different. So that's why I always say, when you getting to know what agency you are working with, then you can see the incumbent. You got to get to learn how they do business, because this is part of it, learning how to interpret the data and how to do business. Okay, then it tells you the incumbent. It tells you if it's a new requirement and recompete. And see, this is a lot of information. Then it also gives you the point of contacts. Now, this is not always current. You could be reaching out to the people. It could be a black hole. They could have been retired, or they've gone about their own way. It tells you the last time. Sometimes they tell you the date it was modified, but this one is not telling us any days has been modified, but for some of them. But they started updating. So I would only look at the ones that they're updating, because that means they didn't fall off the radar. That's basically what that means. And so what you want to do is always put your filter on. And that's how I filter everything. I use filters, right? And then I only want to look at 25. And because you really don't want to look at 22, because that's it. You can look back 5 years to just see what they were purchasing, but we really want to know what they're purchasing now, especially with administrative changes. So much has changed. Things are not the same. So we happen to be very flexible. And then, so for this video, I'm only going to do 2025. So that way you don't have a lot of data. And you see how it came straight up. And then now, if you wanted to go, now that you filtered it out by 2025 and you want to filter it out even more, then, but the only thing is, you see how they've put the NAICS codes and all this information in the same block. So that will be hard to do. But let's see, we can look at the filtering mechanism on see how they're filtered. So see, you can search, you can unselect, and so for the video we're going to do 54, let's see, 54 16 11. So I was able to find, and then boom. So now we're only look but you see why it's so important to learn how to use the tools and resources. Now you can create pivot tables and all that, but sometimes it's just quicker to do the filters, and then what you do is you just duplicate the sheet. So this one we're looking at, you rename it, but never touch the original sheet. So that's me touching the original sheet, and I don't normally touch the original sheet. This is the raw data, the one we just pulled, because I want to, just in case I want to go look at something else and I don't want to then and delete stuff and all that. So what I normally do is just make a copy, and then I move it to the end, create, and make a copy. And then you name it. Okay, this one is the NAICS code research. This is the 54 16 11, and then everything you want to. So say I only want to work with the state of Maryland. So then I'll take it to the next level. I'll make another copy, and then I will move it to the end, create, make another copy, and then rename it, because I only want to look at opportunities in the state of Maryland. And then you will go to that sheet, and then you will go to the filter, and then you change it to just the state of Maryland, because we're narrowing it down to our area. And so there's only, but you see, because that way, you don't want to go to Texas, you don't want to go to Virginia, you don't want to do all those things. So make it easy for you. And then if you want to look at another data point and see, that's Silver Springs. I mean, it's very good. And then you start doing the backwards planning, because now that I done looked at everything, I've seen it. Now we can start looking at the program office. I've narrowed down my search. This is a recompete for medical support services. No, that's not my area expertise. Then this one is for a workspace, and you do that for each of your NAICS codes. Now for me, I only do the 54 16 11 right now, and the 61140, because I'm doing training. So I'm in the app, and I'm doing management consulting, and then I'm always looking for those different things. So I stay in the 54 16 11, and then I'm also been looking at other NAICS codes that could possibly be my NAICS code, but that way I keep my pool, so then I can stay very focused. But when you divide yourself so much, then you can't stay very focused, and then you're all over the place, and then you're winning nothing, because you're all over the place. And then you have to look at these offices to see, have you done research or worked with them before? Do you have a POC, a contact? I mean, all those different things are going to come into play. And then what I normally do is I freeze. I make this yellow so it can just stand out. Okay, so we're only looking at the Maryland opportunities, and then you go in here and you rename it, and then you add Maryland. So you'll know that was your Maryland pool. Or like I said, you could do the pivot tables. It's so many things you can do. But for my new small business owners and my new small newbies who's just getting started, I have seen you have to make it so easy that they could just get started. All right, so the procurement forecast checklist, I just start thinking of what data do I want to look at. Okay, we want to know if it's a set aside. That's the first thing you want to know. Do is decide, okay, it's a set aside. Identify the set aside. Okay, I'm a small business and I'm a veteran owned small business. So then you put in here, then you delete everything else out of here, because you business and a veteran owned small business, find which it is, this opportunity that we found on the procurement forecast. Okay, if it's not a small business, or a woman-owned, for this example, we'll just say woman-owned small business, mark as subcontract only unless it's under the SAP, the simplified acquisition threshold. That's under 250,000. And that means I can be a prime on it because they're going about your capacity. They're looking at your past performance. They're looking at all those things. All right. So then we want to estimate the value of that uh, procurement forecast. All right, because we're trying to figure out, okay, can we prime it or will we have to be a sub? Now, NAICS match, is it our NAICS code? Now, we've already did the search. We got all the other NAICS out. We only stuck with our NAICS codes. Same thing with the PSC codes. And then the vehicle required. So some of the requirements will require a GSA schedule, um, and you don't have a GSA schedule, then you know you can't go after it. Or it could be they want AA stars or Oasis or something like that. That's what they're asking. If not, you already know. I can't go after this as a prime. I have to go after this as a sub. And if I'm going after the sub, does my team and partner have access to this vehicle? Now, if you have a bench, you can go look into your bench and see, okay, if I do or if I don't. Now, what about contract status? Is this a new requirement or a recompete, a follow on? Because if it's a recompete, then you're going to have to go look up who the incumbent is. Who are you competing against this? Because they might win it again, especially if they've been doing an excellent exceptional job. Okay, so that's some things. And then if it is, you go look up the incumbent information. You can look it up in USA Spending. You can look it up in on sam.gov. You can look it up in FPDS. There's so many things you can do it, and then record the UIE so you'll know who that is. Now you need to talk about the relationship status. Is it strong? Do you have some contacts or something like that, or no contacts? Keep everything really easy, just so you can get through, and then mark the status. So it posted, it was awarded, it canceled, or not yet posted. You got to keep going back and checking, because sometimes they update the procurement forecast, sometimes they don't. So that is up to you to just do a save search, and then get every week you getting a update on all of the solicitations, sources, sought notice, or special notices that have been by that agency. For the Department of Commerce, for instance, the one we selected for this training. And then you just keep going down. So then required PLC outreach. Okay, so you identify who the PLC on the forecast was, so that way you can go out and read tables and all that. But I want to keep these trainings short because I don't want to always go over. So that's why I'm making sure we know. And then you see the estimated value. You see what I was talking about with the estimated value. If you haven't worked a 250K, trying to do a 2.1 million, that's got to be a sub. You have to be a sub. And then they're telling you it's been a recompete. I mean, it's going to be a sole source. It's been a sole source and it's been a recompete. Now you'll have to do the research to find out who the incumbent was, because sometimes they give us that data, sometimes they don't. Okay. And then the last thing about this, and then you see your POCs, and then they tell you anything else on here. And the last time it was my same thing. It resets every fiscal year. So like now, we're about to go into fiscal year 26 as this recording, because right now we're in fiscal year 25. And then come 1 October, we're in fiscal year 26. And each fiscal year, you get a new shopping list with budget requests. Some items may drop if funding is not approved. That's just the way it is. Breaking down by quarters, and you see everything is broken down by quarters. And so you need to get a system, that way you're reviewing these each quarter. And so, okay, so you already know quarter 1, October to December, you already know, okay, we're going to start reviewing those when, because we don't know how far they have already placed on there. So each agency does it different. So you want to start getting used to the way that agency does it. Okay. Then, okay, so take action this week. Okay, beginners step-by-step process. First, download the agency forecast. in Excel. And then I use Google Sheets. So normally once I finish uploading it and doing all my stuff, because they have already given me a Excel, I use Excel to get all the information, and then I only the opportunities that I'm going to add to my pipeline goes in, and they don't go into my active pipeline. It's just stuff I'm watching to see. You don't mix those procurement because they're not funded. It's not, it's just on the horizon, if you will. And I'm going to show you how that do that too, because I'm going to walk you step by step through how I'm building the GovCon dashboard and the Google Sheets on how to help small business just getting started. Like I said, you don't have that capital, you don't have all those things. So it's just to get you started. Then you feel you filter by NAICS, PSC that match your business, and then you sort by fiscal year or quarter. I do fiscal year and quarter, but for the sake of time, I didn't want to do all that. But these are just some recommendations. Now, highlight and your set aside categories, or you can just filter them out and keep all your different tabs. So you're only looking at that information. Then you can add the top 10 to 20 fits into your pipeline. But I'm going to change that on here because it shouldn't be the pipeline tracker yet. It's on your forecast tracker. That's on your upcoming opportunities. So I'm definitely going to change that. It shouldn't go into your pipeline tracker just yet, because if they don't get funding, if it get canceled, you don't want all that old and stale stuff in there, and stuff that we haven't even been funded yet in there. Just leave that on the procurement tracker, the procurement forecast tracker, your upcoming opportunities. So basically your upcoming targets or opportunities or leads, upcoming leads. And that's how you want to phrase that. And then check sam.gov to see if the opportunity has posted. All right, y'all. I hope this video was helpful to you. Subscribe to this channel for more weekly training just like this. And as I continue to get feedback from my subscribers, and then as I continue to just put new things in place, I'm going to keep letting you know about those things that are coming. So see you in the next video. Until then, keep building, keep learning, and keep growing. Okay, till next time, y'all. Bye. How they say, get them dollars.
Yes, yes.
Get that paper, all that. But you're doing it the right way.
Right.
Not everybody do.
Right.
Okay. And we trying to build the community.
What is your definition of success?
My definition is you're happy. Every morning you get up and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get in there on that computer, get my look, I'm ready and up. That was success for me.
Yeah.
Just being able to answer the phone, talk to my family, enjoy work, and get up just smiling and happy, you know. Let's talk about the importance of having a coach. A coach challenges you, keeps you accountable, and helps you unlock your full potential. And as a GovCon coach, this is exactly what we do for our small business. We provide guidance, strategies, and support needed to navigate the complex world of government contract. And together is how you reach new heights. And the best athletes out there know this: the Simone Biles, the Shakira Richardsons, the Serena Williams. So if you feel like you are ready to take it to the next height, join the group coaching program.